Good afternoon, everyone. I guess to follow up on what Therese had said, I'll start by acknowledging this. Our T402 Health Informatics program and our T405 Information Systems Business Analysis program, there are quite a few similarities between these two programs. They were both kind of created and established and have a similar baseline of core content that we speak to. As Therese had kind of alluded to, there are some core technical competencies, or at least technical skill sets, that become really important for both groups of students to be able to engage in and that we develop throughout the curriculum in these courses. Number one, the domain of, as Therese had alluded to, business analysis. And I'll speak a little bit more about that into my next slide. The discipline of project management and kind of managing projects in both traditional as well as agile based endeavors becomes really important as well, and something that we emphasize equally in both programs, you'll notice, and also kind of I wouldn't say so much an emergent discipline, but certainly a high demand discipline, that being data and business data analytics. And so both of these programs kind of touch on those three key components. You'll notice that if you compare the two programs, that there is a lot of similarities. In fact, probably about 50% of the courses are pretty much aligned for exactly that reason. Because again, the competency that is necessary for success across any sector, it kind of builds on top of these core competencies and core skills. What makes the business analysis program unique, I would say, to health informatics, while it does not have a health-focused skew to it, as you're going to see within the health informatics program, ours is intended to be industry and sector agnostic. And so what that means is that individuals who take the business analysis program are generally prepared to perform this work in any sector in which they choose to venture into. And I'll say over the course of the past 12 years that we've developed and have led these programs, we have had, and I'll just kind of speak to this point as well, we have had students within our business analyst program go into all sectors. Finance and insurance, mining, oil and gas. We have had business analyst students go into healthcare, have worked for hospitals, have worked for tech startups within the health space. We've had students who have worked for government and consulting firms. And I'll also say that, in that time, because we have been running the health informatics program over that period as well, we've had students from our health informatics program also lead into not explicitly health type roles. And so I think that that's kind of an important message to say, that the skill set that you'll develop within these programs, is essentially agnostic and is applicable across all sectors. Obviously, there is a specialized focus for our health informatics program, which immerses you into the discipline and the area of health, or the domain of health. In the business analyst program, we are more agnostic. However, there are a few specializations that I will speak to in my next couple of slides. But before I get into it, I will say this: there is an emphasis in terms of specializations on UI, UX. There is a specialization in terms of business data analytics within our program. We are now teaching emergent skills such as intelligent automation and robotics process automation. This is something that is unique to what we're doing within the business analyst program. And beyond that, we are actually launching a specialization. One of our specializations is also going to be for the next group of students coming in within cybersecurity. There is a significant demand and a high amount of need for individuals to be able to write requirements and create specifications specific to cybersecurity applications, and obviously security considerations for organizations as well. And again, that's across all sectors: banks, healthcare, government, insurance. All of these areas, all of these sectors have a high need for security practitioners. And so within our program, we're now creating that bridge within the curriculum that we've rolled out. So I want to start, instead of looking at the curriculum per se, I want to really emphasize what we cover within this program. I want to start by introducing what business analysis is all about. And again, this is important because Therese had kind of spoken to this as well. As it reads, business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs, recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. The question is, what does this mean? A business analyst in any domain essentially is a business technology researcher and consultant, and somebody who helps businesses to realize the highest potential value for dollars invested in technology and who help to define and provide a clear roadmap in terms of how technology can help an organization to realize those benefits. As it reads, much as construction projects need architects and designers before we build anything, technology needs this role to ensure all aspects of technology solution are correct and fulfill the needs and again, address the business value associated with the initiative. The types of skill sets fundamentally that we teach business analyst students to be able to perform can fit across the development life cycles, but especially early on within that life cycle. So our students can focus on conducting strategic market analysis or kind of high-level business analysis. This may mean the development of business cases or opportunity analysis or opportunity assessments, kind of as a pre-initiation activity to help an organization in conceptualization work. We help in digital product development or product enhancement. And so this means kind of conducting product analysis, defining product details, and scoping what a technology product or solution has to be able to do to meet the needs of an organization. And again, it doesn't really matter what the industry is. This is a core skill set that's applicable across all. In the past week and a half, I was having a conversation with one of the senior technology leads at Women's College Hospital, and her CEO were talking how important kind of these product management and product ownership skill sets are, and what they're looking for in their practitioners as well. So again, this is across all sectors, and that's really important. We help in the definition and determination of client customer needs. We help identify customer segments. We help in the creation of client personas and client characteristics so that we understand exactly what a piece of technology is going to do to support these individuals. We help define functional requirements, identifying what exactly technology solution must do for end users. We help to specify and create models to represent interface and UI UX design, designing and validating interaction between the solution and the eventual users. We help to provide solution specifications through detailing and modeling of the system so that developers are very clear with what they help to build. I'll say a big part of the value of this business analysis role is to make it so that our downstream developers, and in many organizations, what we are seeing is that development continues to be offshored. But a lot of the offshoring that may take place for developing solutions, we don't want to have developers who have to do critical thinking around what a solution must do. We want developers to focus on how they have to build it, but the what is defined by the business analyst role. Finally, we help organizations in kind of change management practices. This means communication, training, the development of standard operating procedures for end users. So essentially, any of the work that tends to support the hard technical skills is what the focus and these disciplines, I'll say of both business analysis and health informatics, kind of where our focus is. To Therese's point, and she had made or alluded to earlier, some of what is required for individuals that come into these programs, I will stress this, within both of these programs, we will generally have individuals who do not necessarily have a strong technical skill set. We have probably about 50% of our students who join these programs who come in from a technology skill set and background. They've been developers, they've been testers, and they want to kind of move up the software delivery value chain to do more of the conceptualization and consulting work. We've also had a lot of individuals come into these programs with various backgrounds in educations, backgrounds in business, individuals with MBAs. For a program like T402, we've had individuals who are internationally educated physicians who join our program as well and who are interested in taking their domain-specific knowledge and applying it to creating higher value for technology. So beyond the business analyst tasks that I've just described, some of the other skill sets that we will teach within our program kind of fall into the following categories. These might be business data analytics. And as I said already, there is a specialization that we've now included within the second semester of our business analyst program, where we learn to kind of capture, analyze, and visualize data. We introduce robotics process automation. This is an area and a discipline in which we've seen significant growth and demand kind of to do with robotics process automation, intelligent automation, and kind of even more advanced intelligent automation leading into some machine learning and even artificial intelligence. Many of these RPA solutions are now kind of getting into this space of what they're calling hyper automation. And so some really interesting opportunities for our students to get hands-on in learning these intelligent automation solutions while they're within our program. We introduce business process analysis formally, kind of some of the best business processes and practices for flow charting, notation standards such as BPMN and UML, kind of following Lean and Six Sigma analysis processes and perspectives. We introduce quality assurance and user acceptance testing so that we're clear on how we validate the requirements that have been documented. That's kind of a piece that supports a lot of technology delivery at the towards the end of an initiative. And as I've alluded to already, user interface design and user experience. So again, we also have a course specific to how we conduct the research necessary to ensure user design and user experience is being optimally met. Within our programs, and I will say this, for both T402 and T405 programs, we are a very strong standing partner with the International Institute of Business Analysis. In fact, our programs kind of helped set the gold standard globally for what business analysis training and curriculum look like. We were the first ones to offer these courses in a full-time capacity. And so we've had a strong partnership with their academic program and alliance. When it comes to certifications, there have been some changes that have taken place. As part of joining these two programs, either business analysis or health informatics, you will receive a free academic membership to IIBA for 1 full year. That also means that you will receive a discount if you choose to go formally and receive a designation. Now, as a result of a couple of changes IIBA had made over the course of the past year and a half, we no longer give what we used to call an academic certificate upon completion of this program. What we are now going to offer is a discount and a pathway so that you write a formal credential through IIBA. The credential we're recommending is the ECBA, or Entry Certification in Business Analysis. To complete this credential, it aligns with our curriculum, so you should be able to write the designation upon completion of our courses. There's obviously the recommendation that you want to go forward, you want to do more training and study and prep for yourself, but we will emphasize that throughout the semesters of the program. We're also affiliated with the UiPath Academic Alliance. UiPath is one of the largest RPA vendors currently globally, and we've partnered with them. We're one of their strongest Canadian partners at this point. And there are a number of certifications that upon completion of our course, you would be able to go through into UiPath and complete the testing and assessment for as well. All of our curriculum, when it comes to robotics process automation, is aligned with UiPath certifications as well. So our programs are intended to lead students towards these formal industry recognized certifications upon completion. And I can kind of stop there. I think it's got about 4 minutes left. Are there any questions for me based on anything I have shared with you thus far? All right, so I see somebody has raised their hand. Ranjit, hold on, I'm gonna allow you to talk, I think.
Hi.
Hi there.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yep.
Yes, I have a quick question. So like if someone have no any experience in like information technology, so is it a suitable course for, like, I have a business background, business of administration. So is it suitable for me?
I believe so. As I said, we've had about 50%, 55 maybe percent of our students come in with a technology background, but then the other ones, as I said, come in generally with a business background, with business experience. As I said, we've had individuals who have had MBAs, we've had people who have had business management experience, sales experience, account management experience come into our program. We've had teachers come into our program, people who have worked in colleges. And in many cases, what they do is they end up going back and doing business analysis within the discipline they've worked in. So I'll say, you know, our program has graduated over the course of the past 5 years, all of the business analysts who work at George Brown College, at Centennial College, and at Seneca College. So the business analysts that work within those academic institutions actually took our program, and they've now gone back to become business analysts within their schools. So in many cases, what happens is our student, or the people who come into a program like this, generally develop their BA competencies and skills, and then they're going to go back to the industry in which they came from to be able to apply those skills. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm just looking at some of the questions that are here, so let me see if I can quickly go through them. Summer, I see that your hand is up. I can actually allow you to talk as well.
Hello.
Hello.
Hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, so I would like to know more about like the co-op program that will be held like in the semester 3.
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually very similar, as I said before, to what Therese had shared. So we have kind of 2 pathways that we can follow. Our 3rd semester leads into either co-op or work integrated learning. So the co-op means ultimately that you're going to be going out and applying for jobs with industry partners. Similar to what Therese had said, a co-op needs a minimum of 360 hours to kind of fulfill that requirement. Co-ops by default in the province of Ontario are always going to be paid. But what I think I also want to stress is that there are a number of amazing opportunities that do exist through the work integrated learning process as well. One of the pieces that I'm actively working on and have been working on for the past couple of months is I'm working actually with a school in the US to establish, they're based out of Massachusetts, and we're working to establish a collective of schools that are focused on intelligent automation research. And we have a number of industry partners, small, medium size, even large. We're working with PwC, we're working with Deloitte at this point to be able to stand up a center of excellence in which we can also support a lot of different types of companies, but we're looking explicitly at the value of incorporating robotics process automation and intelligent automation within non-for-profits. And so this is really exciting space as well. Many of those applied research projects will also be paid, but they will probably not be co-ops. So that would go through the work integrated learning process. But I share this with you because ultimately I don't want you to say, co-op is the only route. There are incredible opportunities to work with small and medium companies, and work integrated learning is just as valuable a pathway for us as well these days. So that's kind of how that works. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just taking a look. What are the important tools in business analysis? All right, so I'll quickly kind of touch on that. So obviously we have a course that talks about some of the analytics tools that we're going to be introducing you to, and I think that that's pretty important. We have a course that focuses on BA tools. So with that, we're going to talk about the ways in which we tend to capture requirements, some of the requirements management solutions that are out there, some of the modeling solutions for user experience, creation of mockups and creation of wireframes that potentially exist. Obviously those pieces, and getting into knowing about some of the specific solutions such as robotics process automation. I venture to say that over the course of the next decade, probably about a quarter to a third of all business analysis projects, and all projects are likely going to have some touch into artificial intelligence or intelligent automation and or reporting. And so the reason that we talk about analytics, the reason that we talk about intelligent automation and RPA is because we see these being so widely applied and used across all sectors. So it becomes a really valuable skill set and toolkit to be able to present. So I'm just looking at some of these questions. So Camilo, I have a background in business, want to take this program. As a complement to that, you've mentioned 50% come from technology. How strong should my computer? So programming languages, as I said, we're going to introduce you to some of the more common programming languages that exist to support, again, some of those domains that we're looking at, which is getting into robotics process automation, how you're going to have to do some programming to support that practice, and obviously how you're going to be using some of the analytics suites and tools as well. Python, R, and these sorts of languages as well, so that you're familiar with how to kind of do some of this work. So our focus is going to be to introduce that to you. You can obviously always go deeper if you so choose. And there's certainly a lot of supporting resources that exist within the college that you'll be able to take advantage of to go even further if you so want to. But again, we provide the skills that we do so that you at least have the foundation that you need to continue to build as you need to. The challenge with these fields is that they are very diverse and they're changing very quickly. Students are leaving our programs and they're getting more focused in data analytics with requirements. Some of them are leaving our program and getting into product ownership, which becomes a little bit less technical. So again, that kind of becomes the focus that we're looking at here. Camilo, I also look at your second question. Can I make a parallel with analytics for business decision-making program? I don't know a lot about the program other than, like I said, we have kind of one of our specializations focuses on analytics for, our business data analytics. Theirs is an entire program that only deals with business data analytics. I'll tell you that from an industry perspective, how this generally works is the business analyst and the business analytics jobs are two different jobs. What usually happens is that an organization will have a business data analytics team, which is consistently working to be able to identify trends, to be able to track performance, and to be able to assess or evaluate where there are opportunities for opportunities for improvement within how we do what we do. What then happens is when there is an opportunity identified to improve our organization, that is often when a business analyst enters, takes that preliminary data in which we've identified what are the issues, where are the problems, where are the challenges, where within a process do we see there are queues and people are waiting, where do we see that people are falling out from kind of a structure or a process. If at the college, for example, if we have, let's say 25% of our international students who are applying for these programs, but we see who are leaving before the admissions process ends, for me as a business analyst, I would need data to verify that, but then we would start the journey of figuring out, okay, how do we actually improve what's going on here? What are the structural things that we need to do to make sure that we're not losing 25% of our international students when they apply for whatever reason? So there is a bit of a parallel between these jobs. They tend to work together, but they are certainly not the same job. Data analytics is really focused on how do we take information that we have at our disposal and make informed decisions with it. What is the story it's telling? Why are things happening? And what can we do to begin to predict what can happen in the future based on what we knew is happening today, right? That's data analytics. Business analysis now is, now that we know we've got issues and challenges, what can we do in future to critically change how we perform or how we do what we do today? And when we define a notional future state, what is the delta between what we do today, what we have to do in the future? That becomes the requirements, the details, the specifications, and the models that we produce. So I hope that answers that question in a long about way. The course comes with experiential learning capstone. What does that entail? So again, the experiential learning capstone can be one of two pathways. Either it's, as I've alluded to, work integrated learning, or it is a formal co-op. So you can go to industry, you can get a job with the big organizations like the banks. You can get a job with organizations like healthcare organizations, such as in Therez's program in T402. You can get a job working in government, in consulting firms, and a lot of small and medium startups. So that's a formal co-op pathway. The other pathway, as I said, is work integrated learning. And this is where, again, we're finding really innovative ways to be able to engage with our industry partners. And this can come through a variety of mechanisms. One of the ones that we're working on right now is through applied research. We have grants, we have partnerships with actually a lot of large organizations that want us to help them in solving problems for a lot of smaller to medium-sized organizations, such as the non-for-profit. So there are some incredible opportunities through both pathways to completing this program. And in both cases, they're creating just these amazing learning opportunities as well. And did graduates of this course get full-time job after the co-op? Of course, yeah. And so I will say this historically, and it's been difficult over the last year with obviously with what we're seeing with COVID. Hopefully by the time individuals such as yourselves go through a program like this, COVID is less of an issue. But we have historically seen that our co-op or transition or our co-op rates have been very high. We're talking over 75% of our students, if they've so chosen to, will go down the path and get a co-op job. Again, the past year has seen that being a little bit more difficult, but our numbers have always been very high. And for those students who get a co-op job, the transition to employment rate, it's also been very good. It doesn't mean that they'll immediately get a job. We had a student who just graduated in December working from RBC. The team she was with, they weren't able to bring her on in a full-time capacity, but within a month and a half to 2 months, She was actually just given a job opportunity with RBC as well. Her first job was here in Toronto. Her second job is actually in RBC is opening up a center and an office within Halifax, Nova Scotia. So she actually just moved to Halifax. I think she's probably going, I don't know if it's the end of this month, but I know that she's leaving shortly for a job that's going to be starting in May. So that's also within RBC. And again, it's the co-op that opened up the door so that she's now able to apply for other jobs. So there has been very strong opportunities that exist within that space as well. All right, any other questions? I see there are no other questions at this point. Let's see, there isn't a quota for co-op. One can choose. Yeah, so absolutely. There's not I don't know what a quota means. It's our objective is to have people successfully get through the program. So it's, if we were to get everybody who could get a co-op job and that's what they wanted, that would be fantastic. The problem with that is that ultimately, as I said, I've pulled together quite a bit of funding at this point. Over the course of the next 6 months, we're going to have almost $100,000 in applied research funding that we have to spend. So if everybody goes into co-op, this means that that money sits and gets wasted. So the goal is to obviously be able to help work with industry in any capacity that we can, be it co-op, be applied research, and work integrated learning fulfills that as well. Do you suggest that certifications can help secure co-op? So sure, like I said, if you want to, as you go through this program, we align with UiPath closely. We align with IIBA as is projected on the screen. So again, I would highly recommend that if you're interested in these certifications, as we have a number of students who do, while they go through the program, they also focus on studying and preparing for their certifications with both IIBA and UiPath. The more you have, the better. I will say though, that a certification does not mean that you are the most, qualified. It certainly helps to open the door, but at the end of the day, you still have to interview. And so in both of these programs as well, we do have our field education office who will be helping to do the interview and the employment prep piece as well. That's part of our second semester, which is very important. And, I will say that while it's not technical, just as important to know how to effectively sell yourself as it is to be able to actually demonstrate your technical skills. And finally, Samir, will we also learn about IT? Of course, yeah, and IT project management is one of the courses. I didn't really focus on the curriculum because it's available online. You can take a look. Which program is being discussed here? No problem. Vignesh, this is business analysis is what I'm talking about now. Therese had just spoken about health informatics, but again, both programs, as I alluded to, are very similar. So, there's a lot of similarities between these programs when we work to develop them. They were kind of born out of the same place. Foundational, as I said, business analysis, project management skills, and analytic skills as well. All right, I hope that answers some of the questions. I think there was probably quite a few questions. I don't know if that's a lot. Are there any final questions before I wrap up? It's about 1:10. I think I'm about 10 minutes late. I don't know, I still see we have about 20 people in the room here. Are there any other questions that I can help to answer? Or if there's anything else you'd like to know before we before I wrap up. Yeah, so all of our programs at this point, especially within the School of Computer Technology, are going to be virtual for now. So we don't anticipate that will change. I will say with a certain amount of confidence that we have been quite successful in being able to help in delivering a lot of our programs remotely and virtually. So this has certainly not been much of an issue. Let's see, so can we be, and we have students who are kind of taking these courses from wherever they are in the world right now as well, and that's perfectly fine. So we have students who are currently, located in in India, Southeast Asia, and Africa, in Europe, South America. So yeah, students are kind of, hunkered down where they are, which makes a lot of sense. I'm highly recommending try not to travel at this point if you don't need to. But as certainly as we get through these programs, I think what would be really important is that, it's again, over the course of the next year, hopefully what we see is that a lot of these lockdowns become lifted and opportunities start to open up for us. So at that point, it would be great if we're in a position so that you're able to at least come to Toronto to complete co-op and those sorts of work opportunities by next summer. That would be amazing. Programs and languages. So again, a lot of the programs that we teach. So when it comes to intelligent automation, we're working closely with two software vendors. UiPath is one. We introduced the Microsoft Intelligent Automation Suite as well. And we actually are dealing with a third vendor, a US-based vendor called NICE. There are a lot of RPA and intelligent automation vendors that are in the market. When it comes to data analytics, we'll be introducing you to obviously some of the languages that support this, Python, R. We're going to be introducing you to a number of visualization suites and tools that we're going to be able to introduce you to as well. And when it comes to business analysis, requirements management, we're also going to introduce you to a couple of the suites that exist to help in the modeling of requirements and specifications, as well as requirements management. One of the big tools that we are closely aligned with and we work closely with as a vendor is an organization called Blueprint. So, that's one that has been really useful for us to be able to support. And there's another tool, actually, another vendor that we work very closely with called Top Team as well. So, this is something that we'll be introducing you to. We'll also introduce you to just a bit of SQL from a testing perspective and processes too. So all of these are generally introduced in the second semester. So, our first semester is quite theoretical, but there's a lot of theory behind what we introduce. Then the second semester will get you into this. How many hours will be needing to attend classes per week for health informatics? Either health informatics or business analysis are both fairly heavy programs. Either are 6 or 7 classes per semester. And in both cases, you can expect anywhere from between 21 to 24 hours per week of in-class. So it's these programs are both fairly heavy. There's a lot to learn in 2 semesters because we need to prepare you for semester 3, which is either a co-op or work integrated learning. And as Therese had alluded to before as well, we want to make sure that you are as well prepared and equipped as you can be and need to be successful as you get out and start looking for work. Okay. Any final questions? Yeah, I said in SQL and Python. Yeah, so for sure. So we'll introduce some of these tools, absolutely. So you'll at least be introduced to some of this. Again, we don't focus as much on we introduce kind of user acceptance testing, a little bit of automation testing, but not not so much a focus for our program, but we are certainly introducing that. So absolutely. All right. Any final questions before I wrap up? Just by wrapping up, I just have to press the mute button. All right, everyone. Well, if there are no further questions, questions related to OSAP, I think, Nick, are you able to help with that? I'll just, for anybody who does have questions, I'll just kind of post onto the board as well. This is my email address. I'm the program coordinator for T405. I also obviously teach across both of these programs, T405 and T402. As again, when we built these programs, we essentially built them together. And there's a lot of alignment between the courses. So I teach across both of these programs. So feel free to reach out if you have questions about either even, and certainly around anything to do with business analysis, business data analytics, or intelligent automation and RPA. I'm happy to answer questions within this space.